Good morning and welcome to Market of the Moment. And this is our first Market of the Moment of the fourth quarter. And as we can see, Sharon is taking things very seriously today. Sharon, looks like you've had a rough week already. It's only Thursday. We got 2 days. There we go.
You need a spa visit.
My friend joined me today.
Sorry. So yes, as we were discussing right before we went live, it is Halloween week, so or Halloween month. And some of us are underprepared. That would be me, and some are far more prepared. As you can see, Sharon's got her creepy spiders and all that in the background, and John was just telling us about how he does an amazing job on his yard and gets all kinds of visitors. So
yep.
Happy Halloween month to everybody. So
yeah,
October.
And I know it's hard to believe it's already October. We're already in the fourth quarter, and I haven't brought this up to Miss Michelle Colbert, who's filling in for Mindy this week. But we're going to be asking Michelle for some more of her business planning later this month and see if she's got some time to come on with us and kind of guide us through some of the things that she does with her team to build out that strategy. So good morning, Michelle. How do you like that for an introduction?
Yeah, things I didn't know, but that's okay. I'm totally going with the flow.
Yeah, I like it. Good job. So Mindy's out today. Mindy's actually going to be missing for most of this month, but we have Michelle Colbert with the Rise Real Estate teams at Keller Williams Integrity First. Michelle, thank you for joining us, and we are looking forward to your update later. I don't know if Mindy told you, but we hold some very high expectations of whoever's doing that market update to bring us more inventory each week. So we're probably about 40, 45 minutes until we get to that. So if you need a little extra time, you've got it. So
I'll go gather I need 2,000 more would make a big difference, honestly.
Perfect.
So.
Excellent. Thanks. We appreciate how hard you work. So thanks for joining us. So we also have Mr. John Sposato, and John is with Arizona Home Group, and John is at Keller Williams Arizona Real Estate, and John,
Sonoran
Living.
That's what I meant, Sonoran Living. Isn't that what I said?
Yeah.
Keller Williams Sonoran Living. John, thank you so much for joining us. And John is going to be giving us some great insight this week into how he manages his database and how he works that to stay in touch with his sphere and make sure he's not missing out on referral opportunities. So John, thank you very much for joining us.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
And even though I said last week, Jen Weller will never be allowed on Market of the Moment again, here she is sneaking her way
John,
on.
you really ate some words here.
I know, right? Honestly, I'm so fortunate to work with Jen. Jen works, she's got clients all over the valley, but she primarily focuses in Scottsdale. And Jen's been part of our team twice as long as I've even been here. So Jen, thank you for joining us and introducing John today.
Thank you for allowing me back.
Yeah, after all the fun you had at my expense, it's great.
You know it.
Our sales manager and leader of our sales team, the vice president of sales for Fidelity National Title, Ms. Sharon Trahoon. Good morning, Sharon.
Good morning. And John, I am so excited to hear what you have to say today because I've known you most of my career. I've been in it for 28, 29 years. And how long are you in it for?
28, 29.
There you go. I'm pretty sure my whole career. Yeah. And John's always been that person with sphere of influence and really just doing such an amazing job of keeping people in his world. So I'm very excited to hear you today, John. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks, Sharon. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
And we're flipping our order a little bit today because Amber had a conflict, so she wasn't able to join us today. And Dan White was so gracious and able to come in and give us our mortgage update. But he did have another appointment afterwards, so we want to make sure that we covered that as well. So Dan, Mr. Dan White, Fairway Mortgage. Dan, can you kind of let us know what's happening out there in the mortgage world?
Sure. So everybody's aware there's a lot of inflation going on. If you turn on the news any day, you're going to hear about inflation and what basically that is doing and what effect it's having on our economy. Interest rates are so sensitive to inflation, and that's what people need to understand. So when you're hearing news about other inflation, interest rates have actually resisted that quite a bit, but we're starting to see it now. So we're starting to see rates creep up. They're still near historic lows in the low threes. Any of us who have been in the business for any amount of time understand how great that is. But when the general public's conditioned to hearing, in the twos, and then they start to hear in the threes, there's a little resistance there. So it just is an understanding of what that really means. And so rates are going up just a little bit. They're creeping up. So it does create a little bit of sense of urgency. So if we can find some more homes to sell, it's still a great time to take advantage of those rates and buy before you see that appreciation happen. Because I don't think any of our experts on the panel here would tell you that home prices are backing up anytime soon, right? So take advantage of the low rates and go on out and get pre-qualified is always it doesn't hurt. It doesn't even cost anything. So that's kind of my message to people. If you're kicking it around, give us a call and we'll take you through that process. Other than that, the only other update I've got is you're starting to see with prices creeping up quite a bit happening in the jumbo space. A lot of new programs, a lot of lower down payment programs available, and some relaxed lending guidelines a little bit. They're starting to be a little less stringent on a few of the mind-numbing details they ask for on those types of loans. So
wow, that's interesting.
Yeah. So
that's the real question is, Dan, are you still celebrating your birthday? You were almost an October baby. You were so close.
Oh my gosh. So I don't celebrate my birthdays, but everyone else does. My wife,
as we should, Dan.
My daughter, her stepkids, and I'm really lucky that all those people, but I quit celebrating them after I turned 29, which was a couple years ago.
Oh my goodness. You have some blackmail on me. You could use that video against me someday. I made a video saying to him.
That was great.
Oh, thanks for being here, Dan. We appreciate you.
Hey, Dan, what's the news with the new rise of the loan limits now?
Yeah, so the new loan limit just came out. That's actually today. We're able to lock loans today. It came out yesterday, but the conforming loan limit is now at $625,000.
A huge jump.
Yeah, it's a large jump. We're looking for FHA to up their limits as well. So you'll be seeing that. That's normally happening towards the end of the year. So
we really hope that FHA one goes up, because that's going to really be able to put all those folks, those new first-time home buyers, into houses.
Yeah, and it's difficult to even get those contracts accepted when you're in a multiple offer situation, but it's still a great loan. I mean, when you can get an FHA loan for 3%, I mean, there's so many people that can take advantage of that, and it's such a leg up for them. So, and it's so much misperception out there with those loans as well. Too many listing agents are saying, well, that's a risky loan. No, it's not. It's one of the easier transactions to close, just like VA. And VAs are actually more flexible than all the other loan categories, and the appraisals are not more difficult. I hear that from listing agents all the time, and it's just not accurate. So help our vets take a VA contract.
Yeah.
So Dan, will they be increasing jumbo loan limits?
Well, right now, jumbo, I've got a $2.5 million loan in process right now. So there's those limits will go up by exception. They'll go up to $5, $6, $7 million. They need to be walk on water beautiful as far as the client goes. But yeah, they will take those contracts. We have investors that will do that. It starts to require quite a bit down. Because they don't want and the investors are like Chase Bank, Redwood Trust, companies like that, who do the end underwriting, and you just need more time to close those transactions. But it is essentially, they will entertain some very, very high loan amounts.
So just confirming that today, officially today, you can lock in, because conventional raised the limits to 625. Today you can lock in a loan at that amount. Good. Okay.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that's
So
It's not the beginning of the year type of thing. It's like today.
Today.
That's awesome.
So Dan, is that in response to just the appreciation of values over the last year, and then
100%.
keeping more people out of jumbo, keeping more people in the
Well,
conventional?
they don't want to lose that market share. I mean, they're still
Yeah.
in the business of doing loans, right? And they
Right.
still want to capture Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, still want to capture that business. So, if they don't increase those limits, they're going to lose that. His jumbo rates are better than conventional rates right now.
Right.
That's not that unusual with a fair amount of equity or dollars down. The jumbo rates can be still in the twos. So there's still a lot of opportunity there for people. So Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, they want to capture that business when they can and be competitive. And it's a formula for them, but with the appreciation we've seen, especially here, they've moved that up quite a bit this year.
So John, I'm sorry. So Dan, typically this is something we see at the beginning of the year, right? And I think that's why Michelle's asking, because we usually hear in November, December, we hear an announcement that we'll see, in that first week or two of January, that these will be the new limits. But so how much out of the norm is it for them to raise those limits mid-year? And does that give us any indicator of what we can hope for FHA?
I just think the appreciation is where FHA is going to come into play. I mean, they're 368, it was a big move for them, but I feel like they're going to need to move up significantly just to really accommodate the need. And that's FHA's purpose, right? It's to try to facilitate. But I mean, in this market, even 400,000, it was, with the appreciation we saw last year, I was always hearing, well, 300,000 was kind of always the starter last year, where 275 was the year before. And now I'm having clients go, I cannot, and you guys know this better than me, but I can't find anything. The feedback I'm getting, I can't find anything for 350, 375. So if your max loan amount is 368, that means you're being, and the statistics prove it, FHA loans, their market share is going way down. So they still want to promote home ownership. They're going to have to move that dollar amount up for sure. And yeah, I think the fact that they've made this change a little earlier this year is kind of an indication they're trying to respond to the appreciation in the market. Okay.
Yeah. Well, and that makes a lot of sense. It's just so not what we've seen a lot of. But that's some great news. So hopefully we'll see that. And so Dan White shows up on Market of the Moment, and he brings more money. And so what could be better? So appreciate it, Dan. Thank you so much for your time.
You got it.
Real quick question about entry-level programs. Is there much available for those people who've been on the sidelines, who've been kind of waiting out the flurry of activity we saw through late spring into early summer? Is there much hope for them on products right now as far as things that help them get into a home?
Yeah, now down payment assistance programs are still available. So you've got those available. We actually have several more that we're considering, and there's a few that are really designed for lower income folks, but the math really doesn't work right now for them. So there's about 4 or 5 different down payment assistance programs available. So those types of assistance programs are still really available, and we use them a lot. And a lot of times when we use them is we'll actually change to them if an appraisal comes in low, because if the buyer has to come in and bring additional dollars in, you may have to switch to a down payment assistance program just to keep the deal together. So
Gotcha.
We've had to do that several times.
All right. Well, again, Dan, thank you so much for the update. I know you've got to run. We appreciate your time, and have a great week. I will be seeing you on Sunday, I believe. Go Cardinals.
So will I, Dan.
Go Cardinals. Anyone can stop by.
Excellent. So if you're around, yeah,
Because I
just
just
look for
invited
Dan out
myself.
of the parking lot at the Cardinal Stadium and the big tailgate party. We'll have 100 people there, no problem. So
Standing invite, Sharon. You can come anytime you want.
I was going to drag along with Don. It's all good.
Yeah.
No, but it's all good.
All right. Thanks, guys. I appreciate
All
it.
right. All right. Thanks,
Bye.
Dan. All right, bye.
Thank you.
So, all right. Well, that was some great news, and good to hear about on those conforming loan limits. So that's amazing and great for our home buyers out there. So, okay, let's shift gears a little bit, and I'm going to let Jen introduce John because she's been working with John for some time, and I met John this morning. So, so Jen, if you want to take away and tell us a little bit about John, and then we've got a bunch of questions, and we're excited to learn more from him.
You bet. Well, I'm Jen Weller again. Hello, everybody. And it is my privilege and honor to introduce John Sposato, who runs the Arizona Home Group. He has got a rock star team. They really get along with each other really well. They like working together. They're also part of the American Dream TV. So you can check them out there. I believe that's on CBS weekly. Is it weekly?
It's monthly. Yeah, it's every month.
Monthly that
Second
they get
Saturday of the month.
and that's a little TV spot that they've done videos for ongoing. And I love working with you guys. You guys have a lot of fun and you do a lot of great marketing. So, John, thank you
Yeah.
for joining us today.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it, Jen. We've known each other a long time, as well as Sharon, and you guys are awesome helping out, supporting us with events or marketing collateral. So you guys are always fantastic. So thanks.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
So John, can you tell us a little bit about your career in real estate and the path that you've taken that led you to where you and your team are today?
Yeah, well, a very long time ago, I took some Joe Stump classes by referral only, and that was very early in my career. And I learned, basically that you can create clients for life. And so we average every year anywhere between 78, 82% referral business and repeat business. So it's a huge driver in our business. So we've learned to do a fantastic job from the onset and follow up with our clients through the transaction. Uh, as well as also after the transaction for many years. And we've been very successful at, we just having our clients call us and say, "Hey, it's time to sell again," or "Hey, can you please take care of my friend?" or "This is my family member." And that's a great phone call to get, and it's an easy phone call to have, and it's just made our career. It's really made our career, and it's been fantastic.
Well, and the conversion of those type of opportunities is obviously different than anything else you see, right? So, if I introduce somebody to you and I say, look, you got to work with John. John's the best, and that type of endorsement and that type of connection is a really big difference versus the internet lead or the Facebook lead that came through or any of these other type of leads that people are paying for.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, we augment our business with some of that online stuff or open houses or stuff like that, but we're not hardcore, callers, or dialers. That's just, that's a tough way to make a living, although people do very good at it. But we're not that team. So, what Joe Stump said very many, many, many years ago was, tell them what you're going to do and do that, and then tell them that you did it. And so it's one of those things where you're setting them up through the whole process, and just it's all about just doing a fantastic job with your clients. And now the other side of the coin is that when someone refers you, then you've got the pressures on. Like you really have this obligation to do a really kick butt job because you don't want to burn your relationship with your referrer or your past client. So that kind of keeps us at the top of our game, whether that's subconscious or not. But that's definitely something that you have to be cognizant of. Okay, now I've got this obligation to take great care of my client, but also the person who referred them, and I don't want to let that person down.
So what do you do, John, in the case of when that referral comes through? I was just a little bit off topic, but when that referral comes through, and it's a really difficult one, right? That somebody is looking for that 4-bedroom, 3-car garage, single story swimming pool in Scottsdale for $400,000. So how do you manage that in keeping all the all the people happy in that process?
Yeah, it's delicate, right?
Right.
Especially in
Right.
this market,
Yeah.
it's honestly, it just boils down to just being honest with people and giving them straightforward information and data and a little bit of tough love and understanding. Like, listen, I would love to sell you a house in Scottsdale for 400,000, but it just doesn't work anymore. And so let's look at other options. And it's all about education. That's all. Just making sure people see all of their options and understand, the big picture. I consider us not, we're more consultants than salespeople, right? Like, here's option A, here's option B, here's option C. Nothing wrong with either one of them, but what works best for you. And so helping people to understand that they have options is really what's key.
Yeah.
And
And that's such a great approach, that the educational approach, and we talk about that on here often. About it's really hard for people to be upset with you when you can't create the inventory that's not there, right? You can't create a house that's not there for them.
yeah,
You don't that's not something that you can do. Instead, you can educate and show them the ways of, like, okay, what's the most important parts of your goals? What is it that 4-bedroom house? Is that more important than and having that yard? Is that more important than location? And kind of going that route. So I love it when people talk about how important it is to dig in and educate.
yeah, there's always another option. You just have to make sure that they understand what their options are and they see the big picture, and also what's their goal, like what's their long-term goal, like what's the objective. So just understanding their story and really getting deep into what it is that they need, then we're able to provide their answers.
Excellent. Yeah.
Yeah.
So okay. So shifting back to database.
Yeah.
So how do you manage your database? What tools do you use for it, and what kind of walk us through what that looks like?
Well, we use Follow Up Boss. We've been using it about 5 or 6 years. It's a fantastic CRM, and allows you to set up action plans, or as they call it in command, smart plans or whatever. And you can basically set up. We have an after sale plan that goes into effect the day we close. We ask for a review for Google, so we can get a review. How, did you have a great experience? We'd love to hear it and share it. Then we have a 2-week follow up to make sure that they did the review. And a lot of this has been done by our back end administrator, Selen. But then for the agents, we have tasks of a 30-day call, a 90-day call, a 6-month call, and then a 1-year anniversary call, and then with a thank you card and brownies that go out on their anniversary. And then every year after that, we've got an anniversary tag that pops up into the agent's calendar that morning to give them a call. It's their anniversary. And it's just staying in touch with people. We'd really love to talk to our clients 4 times a year. We call it, all the touches that we do besides the newsletters and the postcards and the Facebook posts and all the tags and things that we do. We'd love to have 3 or 4 conversations a year. Um, and how we do that is, rather than, it's kind of like sort of difficult to feel like, well, I don't want to call my people. I'm always calling and, about real estate. Well, it doesn't have to always be about real estate, although you are giving them information about the market or their neighborhood. We also have a lot of client events, and we have a lot of reasons to reach out to our clients. We have our Big Care Fund happy hour charity event every year. That's a huge draw for our clients, so we invite them. We do a Top Golf event. We do a call in the fall, which is coming up. It's a call-in event from Facebook. We've had help from Jen and Fidelity on that. We did a springtime event that was similar. We have our Thanksgiving pie giveaway. So there's plenty of reasons over the course of the year to reach out to our clients, and we provide that for our agents on our team. That's a value proposition that we have, and it just gives them a reason to reach out. It's not always about real estate. It's not always about, hey, do you want to sell your house? It's just another reason to talk and just basically build this rapport over years. You're building your BFFs, right? You're building your tribe, or we have our hashtag AHG Nation. So we have our clients who love us and we love them. And so we came up with that hashtag 3 or 4 years ago.
I love it. That's awesome, and it's so good to see you've got a great strategy. And we see this with people who are successful in this business, right? They have a strategy, they have a plan about how they stay in front of their folks. And I love that you mentioned that it's not just calling to say, hey, you think about selling your house? And John, you just sold it to me last year. So it's other things. It's your client appreciation events. It's your other ways of engaging them. And then what about like services? Do you like recommend other like, the pool guy? Do you do like the business
Oh,
relationship stuff as well?
absolutely. I mean, you've got to have those people in your tool belt. You have to be able to refer those people, and they understand, the importance of me referring them, that they've got to do a great job too. That expectation, just like myself, to do a great job, they've got to do a great job, or I'm not going to refer them. But there's a litany of things that you need to know as an agent, from electricians to pool people to landscaping company to cleaning services to roofers to plumbers. I mean, you've got to be able to be available resource, and we have that on our webpage. And they people know that they can always come to us for information. We remind them, when we talk to them, hey, do you need anything? Don't forget to reach out if you need any referrals.
Well, John, I would say that those people are your tribe.
Yeah, for sure. They're part
They're
of the
all part
tribe.
of your tribe. Those are the people that know that you care, and you care about your clients and your friends and your family. And I think that's number one, why you get the referral business that you get within your sphere of influence is you can do all the events in the world, but you truly care about, their financial decision and what they're doing. And they know that. And that's
Yeah.
100%. Have you ever read the book, The Tribe of Millionaires?
Nope, haven't read that one.
Oh, I'm buying it for you. It's
All
such a
right.
good book. You're gonna love it.
All right. I'd love to have a tribe of millionaires.
Good one.
But everybody's, we're a pretty democratic team, in the sense that we handle all price points, and not everybody's a millionaire. And so we handle everybody, treat them all the same way.
Excellent. So, can you tell us a little about your team structure, John? Because I think that one of the things when people talk about referral business is they feel like everybody now has to work with John, right? That's what in their mindset. So how do you work that with your team, as far as when you're involving other team members to work with a referral?
Well, I have 5 other agents on the team. We've got an executive administrator, Selene, and Jessica is our full-time marketing director. They're all the back end support, really, to provide all of this infrastructure for the team agents. The agents are out there basically doing their thing. They're
Right.
able to concentrate on just selling houses and just contacting their clients. So I'm usually not involved in a referral, because it's a direct referral to Sharon or to Tiffany or to one of the agents on the team. But I'm here to support them, to help them get those referrals by providing the back end services. Um, they've just been mirroring what I've been doing for 28 years. Sharon Kafini, who's been with me for 18 years as my partner and friend, she started out as my executive assistant, and then she became my buyer's agent, and then she learned how to do what I did within the database. And then we brought on Tiffany, and so she's just, kind of rinse and repeat type of thing. And they're both doing fantastic.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent. So when it comes to if you had a new agent joining your team, I guess the one thing, like I've heard a lot of folks in my time with Fidelity, I meet people and they're like, well, I just moved here, or I don't have a big sphere here in Arizona. And Michelle, you're a great example of this as well, right? Michelle came here from Illinois and didn't have a big sphere, but still found ways to connect with people. So what would you say to people in those positions as they are looking to grow a referral business, but they don't have the referral
Yeah.
business to start out with?
Well, you got to start somewhere, and the bottom line is you have to get out somehow and meet people, right? Whether that's open houses or door knocks or circle dials or whatever you're doing, standing in line at Starbucks, you have to start to build that referral. Uh, the quickest way to do it would probably be doing some circle dials around your listings and your sales, advertising open houses, doing open houses as much as possible to build that referral base. Again, it's pretty hard to accelerate that process. You've just got to get out there and do the business. But however consistent you are, and you're going to build that faster. I mean, our time, we do our circle dials, and we do our open houses. So we are out there actively lead prospecting, like you should be.
Yeah.
We don't give that up. It's not like we don't make those phone calls. And you have to do that. Again, there's a million people out there that you don't know,
Right.
and they don't know you unless you pick up the phone or knock on their door, or meet them in their neighborhood. So
Yeah, and it's funny because I hear people who are newer to the business, and they say, well, I just really want to work by referral. And I just want to but then you really have to know some people, right? You really have to have a gigantic sphere of people who are influential to start that way. And in the beginning, it really is a grind for most people. And, it really becomes that, how do I get to know the people who will later become my referral partners? And
yeah,
so, and prospecting, like you were talking about, is that path, right? So
yeah.
doing the open houses, doing the dials, doing those things, so you can build yourself a tribe and have those cheerleaders out there for you, but it doesn't come automatically.
No, if people were consistent, they would be much more successful. I mean, if people just treated this as a 40-hour work week, for example, you just just get to work 8 o'clock, leave at 5 every day, and you did that for 90 days or 6 months, boy, you'd be surprised how much business you have. But they don't do that in this industry. People get their licenses because they don't want to be told what to do or where to be or when to be there, or don't want to work full time and think they could do it part time. And it's hard, very hard. I mean, what's this? I don't know what the statistics are for failure within the first year, like 75, 80%, and
It's
95%
85% of new licensees don't renew, I believe.
yeah,
So,
and probably 95% or more after like 3 years. So,
right.
um, again, it's a very simple business. It's a very simple business, but it's really hard. It's a
Yeah.
very hard business, and consistency is definitely part of it. If you
Yeah.
can't be consistent, it's going to be hard to be successful.
And John, you've done a really good job with your team, keeping everybody really gelled well together, and but yet letting them do their own thing. But you're there and supportive, and you got the back end. What do you do to keep your team, connected? I know you guys have check-ins that you do
Yeah.
with Zoom with COVID, obviously.
We have morning huddles. We have weekly trainings. We have weekly circle dial sessions. We have and then we have team events. We have team lunches and team happy hours, and we just try to keep it light and loose and stay connected. Obviously, we've got a group chat going all the time. Any questions need to be answered, or any kind of video training or anything, we can send out a little clip of this, a little of that. Just sharing constantly. We're just staying connected as with technology, so that helps a lot.
Which we've all had to rely on more with COVID.
Yeah, I mean,
So,
the part of the best thing that's come out of COVID has been, Zoom and the technology, just like we're
yeah,
doing today.
we were all forced.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, what advice would you give, John, to somebody who, and I know we kind of covered some of these things, but somebody who's new coming into the business? I had lunch with somebody like 2 weeks ago, and we were talking about, they were asking me about whether to join a team or not to join a team. They were asking about, what I saw in the most successful people who started as newer agents versus people who were, who didn't make it, and the people who made it. And so, what advice would you give to people in those positions?
Well, I think joining a team makes a lot of sense because it takes a lot of pressure off of you in the sense that, all of that marketing and all of that infrastructure is already created for you. Transaction coordinator, listing coordinator, back end admin, database management, all that stuff, which takes time and energy and money, takes time away from you actually prospecting and actually selling houses. It's all taken care for you. And if you find a team where the splits and the value props are make sense, I would jump on a team any day now, because again, you're just all you have to do is then plug into the system and do it consistently. So
Yeah.
I see a huge benefit. And we've all seen teams growing like crazy over the last decade across the country, and probably because of that, it makes a lot of sense. There's no money output. There's no time output. Why reinvent the wheel? It's already been created for me. And
Well, and John, I think you would agree because you've worked with so many different agents over the years on transactions and in your brokerages. Not everybody is the rainmaker. Not everyone's meant to do their own on their own or to run a team. I mean, it definitely takes a special person that knows how to run a business 100%. Because
yep.
if you didn't know how to do that, John, you wouldn't be able to do what you do because you manage so many pieces of it, and the structure and the systems are such a huge play there. So unless somebody wants to invest a ton of money, and I know how much those systems cost, so it's a lot, and those processes and really take years to get it perfected. Being on a team is an amazing thing, and you can have an incredible career on teams.
Yeah, and if someone is hesitant to join a team because of splits or all that type of stuff, they just don't understand the money and the time involved. Like at the end of the day, you're paying for time that you get back, right?
Yeah.
At the end of the day,
Yeah.
like it
Well,
accelerates your learning curve. Like
yeah.
you can something
And
I
your
can take.
transactions, because teams also, because of the systems in place and the processes, they're going to generate more business, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, if they're on their own doing 1 or 2 transactions, 0% of 100% of zero is still zero, right? So
Yeah.
don't worry about those percentages. Worry about what you're taking home, right?
Yeah, and we've structured the team where the splits are actually quite favorable anywhere in the industry. If you check around, we've got it dialed down to the value proposition being pretty darn amazing as far as what's offered to our clients throughout the whole transaction, as far as follow up gifts, etc. It's an amazing proposition that the Arizona Home Group offers any agent that's on the team.
I think it's so important to dive into those conversations, because so many people kind of get lost in that part of it, and it's but that same person I was having that conversation with, I was telling them, I said, if I were brand new to this business and I were looking to figure out a way to get successful quickly and get experience, I'd be looking to work with other people who are experienced, and the best way to do that is to join a team. And Sharon and John, you guys both mentioned, what those percentages are. It's important that we keep that in mind, that somebody else is outlaying all of the startup cash that for my business when I join a team, right?
Yeah.
I'm not having to go and spend all of that. I'm not having to go and do all those other things. And if I am insistent that I need to be on my own and creating my own reign, then that's okay. But maybe today's not the day for that. Maybe I go and learn from somebody like Michelle or somebody like John who has experience doing it and can help me learn that process. And John and Michelle, I'm guessing for both of you, if somebody were to be on your team for a couple of years and then come to you and say, okay, now I wanted to go and do my own thing, I want to go and create my own thing, that's acceptable, right?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I mean, at the end of the day, I think the key is like surrounding yourself with people who know more than you do, right? And
Right.
if I can, they always say these little memes that go back, what would you tell your 25-year-old self? I would have gone back and said, you know what? Find somebody smarter than you and listen to them. Don't try to figure it out on your own. But, I started at 25, 26 years old, and I just tried to figure it out. If I had, I could have accelerated if I'd been part of a team or had a mentor or latched on to somebody else. So that's just great advice to learn from somebody who's already done it, and
Yeah.
that's key.
Yeah, I was just with a group last week, and part of the conversation was, if you're the smartest person in the room, you're probably in the wrong room. And
Yeah.
and I think that I see that in this business so much more than any place else in life, where we are all of us have the opportunity to grow. All of us have the opportunity, and we should be surrounding ourselves by those folks who can help us do that. Another thing on that note is, like, I haven't seen a lot of people who's like, I'm going to go, and they're on this team. They're like, now I'm going to go conquer the world, and then we don't hear from them anymore, and we don't see them out there, and they become this person who is doing 30, 40 deals a year to somebody who is maybe doing 6. And so you work splits or you don't work splits. That's a lot less revenue typically for somebody when they go from 40 deals a year to 6. And I don't care what the split is. There's not good math around that. So
Yeah. Well, again, there's money and there's time and energy, right?
Right.
And that people don't understand the amount of energy it takes to run a team or just run your own business as an individual agent. You've got to do everything. You wear all those hats. It's all about delegating and giving it to somebody else to do. And then plus, when you're on a team, you don't have any skin in the game. Like if you go a month without selling something, okay, it's not the end of the world. It's not fun, but you don't have to all this cash outlay. Somebody else is already paying for that every month.
Right. Yeah. Well, and that's what that same agent, I said, look, you could have leads, you could have business up and rolling like this, no problem, if you're willing to spend $10,000 to $15,000 a month. And most people getting into this business aren't in that position, right? Aren't in the position where they can go and or where it would even make sense for them to go and start buying all these online leads and going down all that path, and especially with not really having that experience in how to even convert them. So
Yeah,
it's
and especially online leads, in general have just become so much more difficult and elusive than they were 5 or 10 years ago. It's just a different market right now. And if you're getting online buyer leads, boy, you're having a tough time because it's a tough market for buyers. And, it's just a different game than it was a couple years ago.
yeah, for sure.
And John, you've really made yourself more visible. I know I'm seeing you a lot more on social media just with your, little selfie videos, and I love it. You're posting, different spots to eat. I even think I saw a TikTok from you the
Yeah,
other
I
day.
got on the TikTok, and I'm just diving into the reality of,
Yeah,
this is the new platform. And everything I've seen and all the masterminds I've been in and podcasts I'm listening to, it's inevitable. It's the way to go. And if you're going to jump on it now, jump on it, and just brand yourself as that local person
yeah.
and we'll see. It's
And
fun.
I think that's one of
I'm
the best
learning.
things you can do, support local business and be out there
Yeah.
videoing yourself about it. It's a
Well, it's
win-win.
been fun. I mean, I've been doing my market reports on YouTube now since 2014. I mean, every month I do a market report. So the video it's pretty easy. It's fun. But now I'm out and about and I'm running around and getting local, and that's what people can see, that I'm the
Yeah,
local, McCormick Ranch realtor, so to speak.
yeah, I love it.
Yeah, yeah, I think that it's so important to leverage those type of tools, and you still can speak to your database, and you can still speak to your sphere through those tools, but also gives an opportunity for other people to be introduced as well. And I've been recently I've started a TikTok account, and I've got Instagram stuff going, and actually somebody messaged me the other day, and they said, Don, like all of a sudden your Instagram is like you've gotten so good at it. I'm like, yeah, I hired someone. But it is, but it's important to get that messaging out there if we want to grow, right? If we want to have those opportunities to keep talking to people, but even those people who are in our sphere, having the opportunity to see and connect with them that way. So
Yeah. I mean, you don't know who's watching, right? At the end of the
right,
day, people are watching, so it's a way of touching people without touching people, and it's really quite brilliant if you really start to capitalize it.
yeah,
At the end of the day, it's out there. There's billions of people on the platform, and it's just easy to get out there.
yeah,
So, and it's a good way to have fun. Break up the monotony of sitting in your computer
Yeah,
and banging out emails or making phone calls or stuff. It just breaks it up a little bit and makes you a little bit more human. Yeah, this is where I
right.
went for breakfast this morning. Let's go for lunch, and here's my coffee, and all that type of stuff.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. I think that it is such a great way to have that bigger reach without, in a more compressed time frame. So,
and allow people to get to know you. I think that's one of the best
yeah,
parts is because when I'm picking somebody to work with, I usually go to the about them section first to see what we have in common or, what I can talk to them about. And then I would get into the business side of them. But I want to know, where they grew up, where they went to school, do they have kids, what sports do they like? Do we both like skiing? Just all kinds of random things to see what we have in common. And
Yeah.
you've been doing video for a long time and really gives people a chance to get to know you. You can tell you're comfortable with it.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, and it's we're right at the beginning of this whole thing right now. I mean, really, we're early adapters with like TikTok and IG and video and stuff. And even though YouTube's been around for a dozen years or whatever, this is a whole different platform. And if you're not an early adapter, you're going to get left behind. Like you've got to
Yeah.
start planting that seed and building that Google juice.
Yeah.
yeah, for sure. Excellent. Well, John, I can't tell you how much I appreciate your time this morning, the opportunity to learn from you and your business and the things that you're doing. And thank you for our audience who also had the opportunity to hear and learn from you as well. So I really do appreciate your time.
Hey, listen, likewise, you guys are the best. I really appreciate it. Great to see you. And thanks for the opportunity. Looking forward to hearing what Michelle's got to say now.
Yeah, well, that's what I know. Michelle's been working hard. I've seen her typing over there, so she's been getting us some more inventory as we've been going. And now that we've got that Dan came in and raised those conforming loan limits for us, that'll make it even better. So Michelle, hi, how are you?
I'm great.
No pressure on you today.
I don't know if I have any great news or bad news or any news at all. So I thought this was interesting. So compared to last month, we are up about 900 listings, which is not bad. That's pretty good. That's up about 11.3%. But we're still down 5.6% from last year, which is, it is what it is. That what I've noticed over the last 3 months, we've kind of stabilized. So it's kind of demand has picked back up a little bit. And then listing inventory is still just kind of going up and down, up and down. I don't know if John, if you felt the same way or not, but it's just kind of sticking around that mark.
Yep, we're definitely sort of flatlining, same thing with pricing as well.
So appreciation rates are still staying around a 1.5% per month. They're not really, they'll either go down to 1 or, not much past 1.5%. So we're still seeing that stabilization in that range. What I found interesting though, is this number, the 7,649 active listings that I'm telling you about is pulled from the MLS. That's all of our MLS. So all of our MLS. If you service just Maricopa and Pinal County and you take out and you just look at that area, there's technically just over 6,000 active listings. So there's reality is just in Maricopa and Pinal County, we don't have over 7,000 active listings yet.
Nope. Yeah. I agree. Still, it's getting better, but it's not.
So when I looked last week, it was just under 6,000. So we've gone up about 100 listings in the last week. So that'd be great. But if everyone could please list their house, maybe not all at one time, but gradually over time, then I think that would really help us all out. It might create a shock in the market, but I think overall, I think that's what we all need.
So I think Michelle, interest rates going up will help that too. Interest rates going up will knock some buyers out.
Yeah, I agree. I think that you're right, John, that's probably going to slow things down a little bit as we, as it's going to push some people out. And when you have the appreciation, and by the way, for those of you guys that maybe aren't as familiar, 1 to 1.5% appreciation per month is still like 15% a year. Is 15% plus. So really, where could you put your money that you would get 15% return? Better yet, where could you go and put 5, 10, 20% down and get a 15% return on the entire property? So those are still some pretty amazing numbers.
Exactly. And I think that's what scares some people is they're like, oh, the market's slowing down. Well, the market's not really slowing down, you guys. We're still appreciating at a dramatically great rate, like unheard of rates. A stable market's usually around 4 to 5% per year. We're not there yet.
Right.
So,
yeah, it's just not frantic, which is what we were before.
Yeah, so. It's not a frenzy. Yep.
Yeah.
It's not a frenzy, but also it's not like a drop. It's not a dramatic, like, whoo. If you look, this shift actually started to happen back in February.
Yeah.
And it just slowly is in the last few months, it's just evened out, which is good news for the market.
Yeah,
it just feels like we slammed on the brakes after the craziness of this spring, which was just completely unprecedented. Now it seems like, whoa, it's dead. What, we only got 2 offers instead of 27?
Exactly. It used to be 27.
Yeah. But what's funny is it depends on where you're at. So right now, most active buyers are between 400 and 800,000. But if you're still looking at like a $350,000 listing, you're still going to get 10 offers. So I think it's just dependent on where your buyers are at and where your location of your property is located. Because we can take a home in the West Valley and compare it to the East Valley, and they can be identical homes at identical price points, but they'll get different activities on it just based on location alone, even within the valley. So when we're messaging to our sellers and to our buyers, it's not a, hey, this is what we're going to run into. It's a, we're going to play it case by case scenario, because dependent on what the property is going to be dependent on how we proactively react to this market. So it's no longer, we're going to get 15 offers. You're only going to be on the market for 2 days. We're going to collect all offers through Monday. It's a different story that we're telling people. And I think most sellers need to get that right as well. Understand that the price you list your home for today is still 15% higher than what you would have got for it back in February.
Yeah, and I think that is a really important message, because when people are like, well, I want to wait till the frenzy's over. Well, then that frenzy's already built into your price, right? Mm-hmm. That number is already built in. Or, I don't want to be into this super competitive. Well, then you're still putting yourself in a position where somebody else just set the price for you. You just sat on the sidelines while that price was getting set. So all those numbers are now built in. When we talk about how, 2-3 years ago, if I came to John and I said, John, I'm looking for a $300,000 house, John would be like, okay, we can get out there and we can find that. And now if I come to either one of you guys and I say, hey, I'm looking for a $400,000 house, you're like, how far are you willing to drive? And and so it's amazing how in just a couple of years we've seen so much change. When we talk about corrections, this may be the correction, just the opposite way of corrections that people expect, right? When you talk about the stock market and corrections, we always look at these drops. But maybe we were undervalued in Arizona for a really long time, and this was the correction to push that upwards.
Yeah, I think people need to remember too, everyone wants to buy and sell in what they consider the perfect time to buy and sell. And it's just like you just said, Don, I mean, you're either going to, sell and you're going to get more for your house, the value that it went up, and you're going to pay more for a house. But the great part of buying right now is what Dan just talked about, interest rates. Money is so much cheaper today. So really, I can't imagine a more perfect time to sell, get great money out of the equity that you've built in this house. Buy another house. Yes, you're going to pay a little more for it, but guess what? You're buying it at a way lower cost, right, to finance it. So really,
it almost equals out. Kind of the interest rates pull down that the value. The more that you're paying less in payment.
Absolutely, 100%.
Yeah,
100%.
And a lot of buyers don't understand that, so their agents really have to explain that in apple-to-apple comparison and numbers.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%. So, Michelle, can you tell us, have we seen, as far as new listings coming to the market month over month or pendings, have those numbers kind of flatlined as well? Or are we seeing more listings, but more going into pending quickly as well?
So if you compare it from last month, we're actually down about 3.9% for our properties going under contract. That includes UCB and CCBS and all of those statuses as well as pending. So we're down a little bit from last month, but not, again, 3.8% is not very much at all. The monthly sales though from last year is up 3.6%. So we're still, it's just kind of this fine line that we're playing right now where we're up in certain areas and we're down in certain other areas. But again, it's only that 5% range that we're really seeing a big drop in and up and down. So I wouldn't say there's too much of a change from last month really at all. So.
Yeah, it's funny. We talk about, an anomaly here and an anomaly there. And I really feel like the last 2 years have been just a lot of anomalies, right? Mm-hmm. There's just so many unprecedented things that have happened that have contributed to all of this. That when, as we went into this summer and we started seeing a little slowdown and people were like, oh goodness. And we're like, well, before COVID, that's what happened during the summer. Last year during COVID, everybody was at home like, oh, I don't like these walls anymore. I need some new ones. And they were making moves. So there's just so many things. It's really hard to look at some of these numbers. So definitely appreciate that.
Yeah, Don, I think you hit on it there. We also are heading into, maybe Michelle will agree, that we are heading into more of a seasonal pattern, right? So it typically do have a slowdown heading into the fourth quarter. And if it doesn't really kick in October, I think we're definitely going to see that, Thanksgiving, Christmas drop off, and then won't really kick in until, January, early February. That's my prediction.
Yeah.
So September was higher than most months in past years. So demand slowed down in the summer months and then picked back up when the schools started back up again, which is not normal for our market. Typically, we don't see that happen. We see the kind of slower downward trend in that. But in this year, it kind of flipped and demand went up 4% during September. And so I agree that we are probably going to see somewhat of a slowdown in November, December. It's the holiday season. It's a seasonal thing for us too. I don't care who says it's not and that Arizona is different because of our weather, but it always happens this way. And then January, we'll see kind of a pick back up in listing and in the inventory, especially. I believe that's when we'll see a big spike.
Yeah, I mean the snowbirds are coming too, at least here in Scottsdale area. You know, usually the snowbirds will list their properties coming into the snowbird season, so that should help inventory.
Mhm.
For sure. Well, guys, that was a very fast hour, and I always tell people I'm like always shocked at how quick it all goes. But I do appreciate all of your time. Michelle, thank you for filling in this week, and we appreciate you. John, thank you for coming on and sharing all of your knowledge and your experience in the way that you stayed involved with your sphere and your database. Jen, well, thank you too. No, but
Thanks for having me back.
no, that's right. So thank you for coming, Jen. We do appreciate your insight as well. And Sharon, thank you as always. And for everybody who took the time to check us out today, we appreciate you and thank you also. And I hope everybody has a great rest of your week and look forward to seeing you guys next week. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Michelle.
Bye-bye.
Pleasure to meet you. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Thanks,
Bye,
guys.
guys.